Nas, what's up, my guy? How we doing on this Friday night? What'd you think about SmackDown? Happy for Punk? Yeah, me too, man. Very happy he gets that main event at WrestleMania. Thanks for the likes. Guys, be sure to hit that like button as well on the live, the thumbs up button, shall I say. Welcome in, guys. Friday night SmackDown review. For the few of you already in here, hit that like button, hit that thumbs up. Everyone counts. Everything helps the live. The hearts, the like button, the subscribe. If anybody new here, pro wrestling fan, come on in, hit the subscribe. We're going to talk Friday night SmackDown in just a few minutes, all right, from the O2 Arena in London, England. They'll be back there again for Monday Night Raw. So overall, solid show. I give it an 8. 8 out of 10. Got what we needed. Nothing crazy, nothing over the top. Love the open of this show with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. That was awesome. The end of this show was good too with the main event. Now set from night one, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. Now CM Punk finally gets his WrestleMania main event, but he lets Roman and all of us know at the end that that is not the favor. That is not the favor that he is owed by Paul Heyman. A lot of us thought with Heyman reading over that paperwork tonight that was the favor indeed, just being the main event of night one. But no, there's more to it. So I can't wait to find out more. Not a bad show, though. Yeah, I give it a solid 8. Rachel, what's up? You know the favor? You think Paul is to betray Roman and help CM Punk get the victory? Okay. I mean, hey, it could be as simple as that. I personally feel like there's more to it. What can that entail? God only knows. So, again, guys, we're going to start up the review in a few minutes. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the thumb up, subscribe to the channel. Again, Mondays and Fridays, I am here pretty much immediately following, for the most part, after Raw, after SmackDown, full review of the show and all that good stuff. So again, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe, and would love to hear what you thought about SmackDown tonight in the chat, all right? Hit that thumbs up. Again, guys, made your way in, subscribe, hit the like. Let me know, what you love about SmackDown? What was your favorite couple things, 2, 3 things you really enjoyed during SmackDown on the road to WrestleMania? Well, we less than 20 days away or so, Blue Lightning, what's up there? How we doing, my friend? Again, guys, thank you. A lot of familiar faces, some new people as well in here. Again, so if you haven't already, hit the subscribe. We're going to start the review in 2 minutes for Friday Night SmackDown. So got a lot to discuss, But overall, pretty wholesome show. Loved what we saw from Naomi. Whether she comes out on top of this feud with Jade Cargill, either way, we'll see. But I loved what we saw in that quick little vignette we had with Naomi. The real tears streaming down her face and everything. I thought it was fantastic. I say that it was good unbiasedly, but also as a fan of Naomi, I liked it. I'll be honest, as a fan of hers, I really enjoyed that. So, again, let me know what you guys thought about the show collectively in the chat. And, as I go through this review in a few minutes, I would love to hear what you guys enjoyed most. We'll go through it chronologically, top to bottom, give you my 2 cents. We'd love to hear what you guys thought. What did you like? What didn't you like tonight on SmackDown? For the second consecutive week, I was able to avoid spoilers, which was good. Hopefully it was the same for you guys. Some of you may have watched this earlier. Some of you may have watched it at the regular start time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, like myself. So here we are in just a minute. A lot of crying on this show. It was a pretty emotional episode, wasn't it? Elizabeth, what's up there? Wicked, so an interesting wrestling fact. Right now, Kelly is younger than Charlotte. Yeah, I did read that recently, Wicked. I did read that. I know. She retired at what, 26, 27? Pretty wild. Yeah, that is pretty insane when you think of it. But, all right, guys. So we're going to get into it in just a minute. If you haven't already, hit the like button. I know I got a few of you in here. Get this started. So hit the thumbs up. Hit that subscribe. And we're going to start at the very top of the show at the O2 Arena in London, England. All right, London, England. We had the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, coming out. I mean, this crowd loves a lot of people, right? They love singing the songs, singing their praises. As we saw for Orton following this, we saw with Roman, Punk, and so many others, throughout the course of this show. I like the idea of the matches being inducted to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, we're going to get to that, Nas. And the fact that my guy, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and somebody I also, enjoyed in my early years as well as a fan, Bret the Hitman Hart, that WrestleMania 13 match being inducted, that's a big one, man. That's a big one. And Stone Cold, there he says, Bret Hart is the reason he became who he ended up becoming throughout the course of those years to follow. So we're definitely going to touch upon that as we get, further along in the review. So, again, we started off with Cody Rhodes. Fans were loving it, singing his song, singing his praises, soaks it up, all that. Goes on to talk a little bit about WrestleMania. Obviously, his opponent John Cena. Not going to get too caught up on that. We also will see them again Monday Night Raw on Monday Night Raw this week in London, England at the O2. Cody Rhodes will be back there. John Cena will be back. Third consecutive week seeing the two of them. He says he'll be fighting Cena at WrestleMania 41 as he tries to break the record and win number 17. But that is WrestleMania. We're a few weeks away. And but in just a few nights, again, he'll be with Cena. Randy Orton comes out. If you thought the reception to Cody was good, they were singing Randy Orton's song even louder. Loved it. That was cool. He gave Cody his flowers. I really like this. I liked it from a shoot standpoint. I loved it from a kayfabe standpoint. However you want to take this as, I do think this is Randy Orton truly giving Cody his flowers in reality, for being able to get to where he got. A frustrated Cody Rhodes breaking into the business at a very young age, right? They know, Cowboy Bob Orton, Dusty Rhodes, both of their fathers were in this industry for quite a long time. Just trying to fill those shoes and pave a path of your own. So, Cody did what he did. He left in 2016, fed up with the whole Stardust gimmick for a couple of years. Ended up, doing his thing in Ring of Honor. Even had a quick couple dates in Impact Wrestling, New Japan, obviously, with the Bullet Club, and helping be the starting foundation for AEW. What would be that? And so then he made his way back, and then after 3.5 years, he beats Roman Reigns after 3.5-year reign last year at WrestleMania in a rematch. So, a back-to-back Royal Rumble winner. Say what you want about Cody Rhodes. You might not be the biggest fan of him. A lot of people may actually talk down on Cody, but one thing you need to do with Cody Rhodes is respect him. Because I'm one of the biggest Roman Reigns fans here. And I'll tell you what, when he won that match, Night 2 WrestleMania 40, where I was in attendance, I had no problem with it. Again, would have loved to see my guy Roman retain, but, Cody really earned it. He didn't just deserve it, he earned it. So that said, Randy Orton has given him his flowers throughout this whole opening segment. Was great. It's fantastic. And then shortly thereafter entered Drew McIntyre. He got into the fold. He said, this is wonderful. A couple of basically nepotism babies having a love fest in the middle of the ring. It made him sick. And he goes on, blah, 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 blah. He says, Randy. And Randy went on to basically tell Cody at the end of this, let me not miss this, that after Cody beats Cena at Mania, Randy's coming for Cody for number 15. Cena wants 17, Randy wants 15. I've been saying this since last summer when I started going live on TikTok. If you've been with me since then, I've been wanting to see Randy and Cody for the longest. I thought if Cody was ever going to drop the title, even if it was for a couple of months, let it be to Randy Orton. And it's funny that we saw Drew McIntyre tonight, mainly because I was, talking back to 2020 when Drew held the title for a while. And who'd he drop it to for a short while? It was Randy Orton. And then Drew won it back from Randy, making Drew a two-time WWE champion. I was kind of hoping the same for Cody and Randy. Let Randy get one more, let Cody get a second title reign in, is what it is. So that said, and then I want to, read the comments and see what's going on. Productions, you're saying, Dad? Well, that's an interesting one. We'll have to get back to that later. So anyway, enter Drew McIntyre into the fold. Talks about Cody, talking about Randy, 2/3 of legacy, right? And WrestleMania should have been the UK's only world champion against Cody, but it's not. Because of the Timu Undertaker, which Damian Priest had a receipt for him later in the night, basically chokeslamming him through a windshield outside. Beautiful BMW, right? So anyway, comes into the ring, basically tries to go after Cody. That didn't work. And then Orton almost hit an RKO on Drew. That would have been great. All that being said, we would see Drew have a match later in the night, which we'll get to in a little bit. And then the Street Profits were ready to open up the show against Pretty Deadly, defending their tag team titles in what would be a pretty good match. So we'll get to that in a minute. I want to know what you guys think in the chat, though. Let me know. What were your thoughts on this opening segment? Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. What were your thoughts? Did you enjoy this? Do you think it was a bit too much? Did you like Drew McIntyre interfering with this whole segment? I thought it was great. I really did enjoy it. The different variety. And I'm glad it wasn't all, sunshine and rainbows either. It was good with Cody. And it was great with Randy coming out to follow and give him his just due. Thought it was very much needed. And then Drew coming out. I'm glad that he kind of rained on the parade. He kind of brought things back to reality. And it was very wholesome open to the show. So if you want to drop a comment before I get to the next bit about the tag team match, feel free to chime in. And I'll pull up some notes on that tag team match. Talk a little bit about that in depth with the Street Profits. Looking good, man. They got the new theme music and all that good stuff. Oh, no, Rachel, feel better. Hope all's well with you. So we're going to jump into this tag team contest, all right? We had Dawkins starting off against Kit Wilson. Angelo was doing a number on him in the early going. And then Elton Prince landed some kicks, so on and so forth. Let's jump to the good part, right? Let's jump to the end of this match. Dawkins back body drops Wilson over the ropes, catches him on his way back, tags in Montez Ford. And then the Street Profits win by pinfall with the blockbuster Doomsday Device on Kit Wilson. So we all pretty much assumed that Street Profits were going to get the victory here. Obviously, they only won the titles 2 weeks ago. What do they look like taking it off of them after not being champions for 4 years and, what was it, something like 4 years, 2 months, and 10 days, roughly, give or take? I don't know. No, I think it was even longer than that. Anyway, good for the Profits. I like this rebranded Profits. They're not babyface. They're not heel. They're kind of tweener, if you ask me. I think they're kind of tweener, but at least that's the demeanor that they're giving off. But I think they just got a major chip on their shoulder, and rightfully so. Especially, I think both of them have a chip on their shoulder, but especially Montez, because Montez eventually wants to break out in the singles. And I think Angelo, everybody's talking about Montez. I get it. He's the flashy one, but let's not forget, Angelo Dawkins is no slouch. You know what I mean? So, hey, this was a good match, though. Backstage, we had the Secret Hervis, that being Alba Fire and who was it, Piper Niven. And they were, going back and forth with Zelina Vega, Caden Carter, and Katana Chance. Caden Carter and Katana Chance, my God, I cannot remember the last time we saw them at all on WWE TV. And I'm not even talking about wrestling matches. I'm talking about, honestly, even a backstage segment like this. So good to see them. I forgot they even went to SmackDown, to be honest with you. Zelina didn't take kindly to the words that were being said backstage by Chelsea and her friends, and says she's going to take the title. And Carter and Chance step up for a tag team match. So we would have the Secret Hervis, as they go by now, Piper and Alba, going up against Caden and Katana later in the night. We'll get to that in a little bit. As a matter of fact, right before they got to this match, this is when we found out that they're going to have a new segment for the Hall of Fame every year. I forgot the exact name of it, but we're informed that Bret Hart versus Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13, and what was it, 97, is being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. It's going to be a new category, and I love it. I say this unbiasedly. I'm a big Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. Growing up, huge fan of the Hart Foundation. I thought they were cool as hell. Dating back to when it was just Bret and Jim. Then obviously they had all the others by 97. They had Owen, they had Bulldog, they had Brian Pillman and all that. So I thought this is fantastic. Steve Austin attributes, a lot of his success going forward after that Bret Hart feud. Bret and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Survivor Series 96, right? And then leading to a match a few months later in 97, WrestleMania 13. So I thought that was fantastic. But let's get to Katana Chance, Caden Carter versus the Secret Hervis, which came up. Relatively good match. Thought it was kind of weird that Piper and Alba had the fight in their, their button-ups and suits and all that. They weren't in their traditional ring attire, ring gear. So that was a little odd. All that being said, the way this ends up is, Carter sends Alba to the floor, splash dives on her, back inside for a super kick for Piper. Chelsea Green runs interference. We knew that if Chelsea's posse was going to win, there would definitely be some outside interference. Chelsea interfered. Niven shoves Caden into Katana. Secret Hervis win by pinfall with a Piper driver from Piper Niven on to Caden Carter for the victory. Post-match, the heels here, the Secret Hervis and Chelsea put the boots to the faces, but Zelina Vega made the save. Zelina Vega, lovely pair of thigh-high boots tonight. And Chelsea Green had some high boots on, too. They were about knee-high, so they were really mixing it up there in the ring. Kind of dangerous. I was just hoping nobody rolled their ankle or anything at this point. So those two mixed it up a little bit. Zelina Vega made the save and hits a satellite DDT on Piper Niven. Chelsea attacks her from behind with a forearm, a kill switch blocked. Vega then sets her up for a Yoshi Tonic, but Fire makes the save. And Piper Niven hits a senton on her to leave Chelsea. And Secret Hervis standing tall. So that was how that went. Tag team match was all right. I was very intrigued to see this duo of Piper and Alba. Again, very odd ring gear they have to wear. It doesn't look very comfortable. I don't know. Just through the years of being a wrestling fan, even in the early 90s, late 80s when I started, some of the ring attire that these people have to wear are the least bit comfortable, or at least look that way. So anyway, next up we would get Braun Strowman versus LA Knight. I think this was the beginning roughly of hour 2. Around 9 p.m. Eastern time. And Braun versus LA Knight for the WWE United States Championship. Relatively decent match. Nothing crazy. Nothing to write home about. But the bottom line here is what it came down to is the Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu got into the mix here. Attacked Braun from out of nowhere, right by the commentary table. Referee called the match. Braun Strowman then won by disqualification. As we all know, that means nothing because the title cannot change due to a DQ. So that's how that went. Fatu presses his attack on Strowman, clears LA Knight out, and then LA returns and eats a pop-up Samoan drop in the center of the ring. Beautiful, beautiful work of art. Whether you like Jacob Fatu or not, he's one guy you cannot deny his greatness. He's been with the company for 9 months on television. He debuted early June of 2024, and he's been nothing short of fantastic. So that was how that went. We then would see a Big Jim interview prior to his match. We would see later in the night, which we'll get to in a little bit. Mainly talking about Jey Uso getting ready for Gunther at WrestleMania and so on and so forth. Then Jim Uso would run into Mello, don't Miz, right? I can't believe they stuck with that name, but I guess it works. We would have Carmelo Hayes with the Miz here. This was all about Jimmy Uso and the Miz. Mello just so happened to be there pretty much. Miz says he thinks it's funny Jim is playing the tough guy when his whole career he's been the other Uso. So I'm sure that struck a nerve, especially these days, with all the singles opportunities and accomplishments that Jey has had, right? IC champion, Royal Rumble winner, going to the main event of WrestleMania for the world title. So second time getting a world title opportunity, right? From Gunther. But actually, in SummerSlam 23, he had a chance against Roman. So do you think they'll pull the trigger and let Zelina win the title? Or will she fall short? Wiccan, I don't know, man. Obviously, the fan side of me says that I would love nothing more, obviously, than Zelina to get that victory. Love Chelsea Green. To me, it's a win-win, though. I do like Chelsea, and I appreciate her. But at the very same time, I would love to see it for Zelina. Are they going to do it, though? That's the million-dollar question. To me, I'm 50-50 right now. I'm really torn on it. But I tell you what, I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to see it. And why not? Why not? Let Zelina get a big victory at WrestleMania, nonetheless, potentially, right? So still can't take all that away from Chelsea. A 4-month reign as the United States champion and the inaugural winner. So that's a pretty solid start. And who's to say she can't win it back, down the line. So, whether people want to see that or not, it's another conversation. So we're going to get to this backstage segment again with Jey Uso. And he was going back and forth with, who was it? The Miz, right? Long story short, it would lead to a match later in the night. Miz had a lot to say, and Jimmy says, all right, I'll see you out there, no problem. This is where things really got interesting, though, with Jacob Fatu. Back from a commercial break, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga roll up on Jacob Fatu. Sikoa berated Jacob for not calling for help, but he's not having it. Solo tells him to lower his tone, and he agrees, but makes it very clear when it comes to Braun Strowman, he's going to be the last man standing. So he said, you better get in where you fit in, and he's bringing the U.S. Championship to the family with them or without them. Now, this was the most telling point of anything. So when he pointed to Tama Tonga, he says, with them. And then when Jacob Fatu pointed to Solo Sikoa, he says, or without them. Tells us everything we need to know. We already knew it now, prior to now, but this is just confirmation that, again, Jacob fully anticipates parting ways with Solo, whether he has to outwardly turn on him or not, or whether he just walks away from him, or they eventually just have a feud, which we're all kind of chomping at the bit for. So that leads me to believe that Jacob will still be aligned with Tama in some regard, with you or without you, as he points without you to Solo. I'm sure most of you caught that from there as well. No problem there, Rachel. I hope you're doing all right over there. Again, guys, thank you for joining me here real quick. If you have not already, please subscribe. All right, please subscribe to the channel. All kinds of pro wrestling content. If you're in the nostalgia, got that for you. If you're in the present day stuff like tonight's SmackDown review, got that for you too. Also, on Mondays and Fridays, immediately following Raw and SmackDown, I do full reviews of the show, as I am now here on YouTube Live. And you can also find me on TikTok, Instagram, X, and Facebook at Turnbuckle TOPIX. Same handle, all that on all my platforms, so I'm easy to find. Nas says, I like Zelina a lot. I just wish they would have built her up more. Fair point, fair point. I love me some Zelina too. I get it. They're kind of just putting her out there. And even though we've seen her week after week lately on SmackDown, I get what you mean when you use the word, build her up. I get that. Rachel says, sorry to hear that, Rachel. I do hope you feel better, really. That's not fun, I'll tell you that. So next up, this is one of my favorite moments of the night. And it didn't even take place in the wrestling ring. I don't know what you guys thought. Whether you're a fan of her or not isn't really important. If you appreciate good art and growth of a character, regardless who comes out of this feud on top, which a lot of us suspect it will be Jade Cargill, what I'm about to get to is we get the promo video from Naomi. I thought this was fantastic. Naomi, she talks about how she's always been a woman to do the right thing, and what makes Bianca think her attack on Jade Cargill was anything but just doing the right thing by her, as she said 3 weeks ago. Naomi was truly invested into this. She had tears simultaneously running down both sides of her cheek. It was great. It was great. This segment hit it clicked on all cylinders for me. This whole Naomi bit, I thought it was fantastically executed. Now, this is the second consecutive week she's been running with this whole caution theme. That's kind of been her thing. You know, she had the glow for the last 8-9 years. Now she's got the caution theme, caution tape ring gear, caution tape, backstage outfits. I love it. I love every bit of what we're seeing from Naomi. She says what really breaks her heart is that all she sacrificed only to be made out to be the bad one in this situation. Again, most of us, again, whether you like Naomi or not, guys, she's being called the heel here, obviously, right, for attacking Jade Cargill. But a lot of people who have known how Naomi's been booked consistently for the last decade or so, a lot of the times unfairly and unjustly and not put in the proper position, are actually riding it out with Naomi. Nothing against Jade Cargill, but collectively everybody's like, well, damn, she got a point. Naomi got a point. Just like it's a much different situation, but dare I say, I'm feeling like the execution of Naomi's heel turn is, I'm not going to say it's necessarily better than Cena's, but I'm a little bit more invested into it from what we've been getting on a week-to-week basis. Not saying Cena stuff is bad. I do enjoy that too. But this is hitting a little deeper because Cena had so many accomplishments over the years. Cena checked a lot of those boxes. There's a lot of things Naomi has not been able to do in her career and just wasn't presented the opportunity to do so. So anyway, I love this segment. She goes, how does Jade come in and out of nowhere and take her place with Belair? She asked Bianca who has inspired her and always had her back from day one. I loved when they showed the pictures of Naomi when she won the SmackDown Women's Championship in 2017 at the Chamber, same place Bray Wyatt won, and her accomplishments over the years, tag, whatever. And yeah, it's true. I was the one when you were in NXT or before you were even signed to the company, Bianca. Naomi was that representation. Now take that as you may. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love that they encompassed all of that into this video segment. So again, like Naomi or not, you got to appreciate good work when it's put together. And so one can only hope that regardless how Naomi comes out of this feud, even if she is on the losing end with Jade Cargill, that I like this side of Naomi. Hopefully they give her something consistently good. Even if she's stuck in mid-card purgatory, hopefully it one day leads to a US or IC championship. You know what I mean? What's up there, Chad? How we doing tonight? Heel Naomi is cool. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, my friend. Chad, welcome back. I think you've been here before, right? If you haven't, guys, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it. We're just a few days away from April 1st. I want to try to hit that 800 sub goal. I think we're about 10 to 12 at least away. So every subscriber helps, guys. So subscribe, please, to the channel. Hit that thumbs up when you get in here. Hit the like button. That's all I ask. Subscribe, hit the like button, and feel free to interact. I'll read your comment out here loud on live. And we'll discuss things. Nas says, I don't think anyone feels bad for Jade. Nas, you got a point. I don't want to speak for everybody, but, right. Look, if you know, you know, I get it. Rachel, there's a very high probability of that I'll be on TikTok, probably around 12:15, 12:30 tonight. So yeah, sometime in the next 40 minutes once I wrap up here. But again, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit that like button if you're in here. Thank you. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't. I know a few of you haven't. I appreciate that. And so, again, in short, loved what we saw from the Naomi, Jade Cargill. Naomi referencing the whole Jade Cargill beef. And we would then see them shortly thereafter this, which I thought was great. We would actually see Jade Cargill backstage after this, talking to Nick all this, trying to locate Naomi. Where's she been? Nick saying, I haven't seen her. Then we would see Jade a little bit later, with running into Mishin and B-Fab, and they're doubling down on. They want to make sure, because like Nas here says, and I was saying, a lot of us are sympathizing with Naomi because she's got a point. She's been with the company for a long time and highly underutilized, and you could say mistreated at times. And, Jade just waltzing in last year at the Rumble, blah, 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 Jade from AEW, you know what I mean? And so they wanted to remind us who's the heel and who's the babyface here. So that's why they showed Jade talking to Mishin, talking to B-Fab, all the baby faces, saying, hello, Jade's still a babyface. And Naomi is the bad guy here as they're trying to paint her. But is she really? Is she really? Because I don't think a lot of us do think that. But we still need more matches for WrestleMania with it only being about 3 weeks away. Yeah, I hear you, Chad. I hear you completely. What are we after tonight? Are we still at 6? Are we at 7? I know at the top of the day we were at 6 official. I know there's technically building around. We probably really have 7, 8, at least 9. Yeah, it's still technically 6 on paper, but I hear you. Bootleg, good seeing you. Great having you in here as always, guys. Thank you for being here tonight, guys. Hit that thumbs up, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Welcome in. We're about midway through the review here for Friday Night SmackDown. And again, in short, love what we saw from the Naomi video. And we would have Jade Cargill, blah, 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 getting ready to interrupt. But Naomi would interrupt first. So we're back from a commercial break. We get another smoky teaser video with a voiceover to the extent of "as I am now, so you shall be." Assuming, but this was, I heard this, I was in the kitchen, but assuming this was leading towards the Aleister Black return. Did we get something for Ray Phoenix tonight too? I know the last couple of weeks, but we'll discuss that. I have some notes and we'll discuss. Nas says, I love how everyone thought Travis Scott was going to be the theme song for WrestleMania. For it to be the Weekend again. Yeah, I know. Wild, right? The whole lead up was Travis Scott. The Weekend, I know, man. It's crazy. I did notice that tonight. All right, Bootleg. Good seeing you in here, man. Thanks for chiming in. So after that whole teaser, we know we're getting Aleister Black. We know we're getting Ray Phoenix any week now. Again, when I read 2 weeks ago, we're supposed to get Aleister Black around April 25th, the first SmackDown after Mania. Ray Phoenix could be before that. Wiccan says, Jade, the incoming mission. I think they dropped the ball on BFAB and not doing much. Yeah, I think they're very hesitant with BFAB. The only one that you could outright do anything with right now is Mishin to a point, but even that, I in their eyes, they think they did something, which they did a little bit, for the getting into the finals of the U.S. Tournament against Chelsea, but I don't know. I would like to eventually see Mishin and BFAB at least contend for those tag titles. I'm not saying they're going to win it or should win it, but I think they would be a nice challenger for Raquel and Liv. Give them something to do. You know what I mean? Ray is next Friday. They did announce that. Okay, great. So Ray Phoenix is officially next Friday. Great. And then Aleister Black, allegedly, supposed to be around April 25th, unless that should change. So I want Ray Phoenix to team up with Penta. Yeah, they will, Chad, but Penta's so on fire, quite literally on Raw. You let Phoenix do his thing on SmackDown on Fridays, and let Ray do his thing in singles too. Penta's been showcasing it for 3 months. Let Ray Phoenix do that too. And if and when that time comes up, whether or not they accomplish singles gold or not, then you could always put the Lucha Bros together at any time. But why not let them do their thing in singles? Since Ray Phoenix was held up, why stunt Penta's growth? And why not give Ray the opportunity? But I agree with you from the standpoint, we know how good the Lucha Bros are. So whenever they put them together again, it's going to be a lot of fun. William says, I meant to drop the ball on Mishin. BFAB is doing nothing. Okay. Yeah, Mishin, they obviously never had her dethrone Chelsea, and BFAB isn't doing much too. To be honest, I don't know what you could really insert BFAB in of significance. It's good that they're implementing her on TV with a veteran sidekick like Mishin. So for that, I appreciate that. Again, the best thing I think you could do for the both of them right now is let them run the tag team division for a little bit. Not run it, but run in it and get some wins, get some losses, maybe eventually get a tag title opportunity. The argument's there that Mishin could obviously be a singles champion, but I think right now mentoring BFAB should be a big thing on their to-do list for this year at least. Did WWE sign some type of deal with the Weekend because it's kind of weird? It is weird. It's that special club, Nas, Illuminati. But yeah, I mean, hey, we'll see. Who knows? Maybe the Weekend signed a 10-year deal or something like that for, maybe just... They signed a 10-year deal in Saudi Arabia. Maybe they signed a 10-year deal for the Weekend to have the WrestleMania theme through. What would that be? He started at 36 roughly, so maybe through WrestleMania 45. Who knows? Appreciate you guys being here. We're going to talk a little bit about Charlotte Flair and Mishin in a minute. But first of all, be sure to hit that like button. All right, hit that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe on the road to 800 subs. Love to get that done before the Weekend, but definitely want to get it done before the first, guys. So if you could hit that sub, that'd be great. All right, we're moving on here. And before this match really got started, Naomi, she must have heard the mess that BFAB and Mishin were talking backstage to Jade Cargill. Naomi came out and started beating the living hell out of Mishin and BFAB. And to be honest, much as I like Mishin and BFAB, I like Naomi more. So I enjoyed that. Bring out that heel side of her. Jade's music obviously hit. She came running after Naomi. Naomi escaped through the timekeeper's area. Then Jade went to help out BFAB and make sure they were good. Mishin then had a match scheduled for Charlotte Flair. So Mishin had to get it together real quick. But I was kind of hoping Naomi came back and started beating on Jade, but that wasn't the plan. All that being said, that was cool. Good to see Naomi out there again in caution-inspired gear. I love the black and yellow. It's a great look. So Charlotte Flair versus Mishin. Charlotte made her way out as Jade and Charlotte had a brief stare down before Jade went backstage and Charlotte came out. Now, if you remember, Jade's first stare down on SmackDown last year, I believe it was October, early November, was with Charlotte Flair backstage. So, look, on paper, it looks cool. Even just the visual, the two staring each other down, Jade and Charlotte, it looks cool. But let's be honest, we are far, far away from a match like that being good happening. So let's all settle down a little bit. as Natty says, Natalia says, let's settle our tea kettle, all right, a little bit, because we don't need Jade against Charlotte or Becky or Rhea, anybody like that anytime soon. So let's see how this feud goes with Naomi. And once that, regardless, even if Jade comes out on top, as she probably will, booking wise, let's see how that looks, and let's take baby steps. Let's not start booking Jade in the main event of WrestleMania 42 just yet. All right. So the way this went is, long story short, with a beat up Mishin, she still hung in there pretty good, but Mishin was beat up earlier by Naomi, and this let Flair just do what she usually does. She won with a figure eight, as expected. And what I was more intrigued with was not this match so much as I wanted to get to the Tiffany Stratton interview that followed this match. Now, most of us would agree, like Charlotte or not, Charlotte ate up Tiffany Stratton last week in that via satellite interview, right? Now, the thing here was, look, regardless, Charlotte, I agree, calling it unbiasedly, Charlotte did do her thing as a veteran she is against the quote-unquote rookie, right? The champion, nonetheless, though. But Charlotte did, talk over Tiffany quite a bit. So I loved when Tiffany said, if I could just get a word in edgewise during this interview tonight, which I thought was really cool, because she's right. She says Charlotte loves to hear herself talk. Last week, she learned that walking into WrestleMania, she's not the one who has something to lose. If she loses to Charlotte Flair, the legend, with barely a year on SmackDown, which is true. Debuted at the Rumble last year, Tiffany, and she didn't look back. She said, when she hears the words, and still, maybe Charlotte will finally shut up for everybody, and she's going to make damn sure Flair's massive ego stays in Las Vegas, Nevada, as she walks out, WWE Women's Champion. So look, I'm intrigued for that. Again, hoping Tiffy time. Hope Tiffany Stratton retains. But if I'm a betting man, I say Charlotte gets to 15 at Mania. But we'll see. Speaking of 15, a guy that would like to get to 15 titles is Randy Orton. And he would have a match against Drew McIntyre. Randy could have had this one. KO ends up coming out late in the match, interrupting just by his mere presence. That was enough for Drew McIntyre to lay in a Claymore for the victory. Post-match, KO takes Orton to the floor, gets him on the announce desk for a pile driver, but Randy slipped out, trips him into the desk, looking for the punt yet again, as he's been doing for the better part of 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks. Owens bailed out, runs away through the crowd, and that was that. So, we almost finally got that punt, man. We're going to get it one of these days. But tonight wasn't the night. Maybe WrestleMania. Even if whether Randy wins or not, I feel like we might get that at WrestleMania. So let's see here. Chad Bad. I think Jade Cargill still needs more training before going against Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bayley. I agree, Chad. If you were on I don't know if you have a TikTok account, but a lot of my group here is usually on TikTok as well, and I share those same sentiments on a weekly basis. And it's nothing personal. I hope Jade Cargill succeeds, and I hope that one day she is a WWE Women's World Champion. But that being said, yeah, before you even have the talks about Jade and Bianca, let's be honest, the true main event scene these days, Jade and Bianca, the Rheas, the Charlottes, the Beckys, like you said, the Baileys. Before we even have that conversation, I got to see how she does in the current mid-card. Let me see, other than a booking squash with a Jaded finisher or something, or a pump kick, how does Jade really do in a match against, I don't know, any of today's heels that we see in the mid-card? That's what I want to see. Make me a believer, that's all. Tiffany Stratton made me a believer summer or fall of 2023. In those couple of matches she had with Becky Lynch, I didn't look back after that. So, we'll see. Not to say I'm not saying that Jade's incapable. I'm just saying for where they want to put her in the trajectory, the build-up for a Jade Cargill, will she live up to those expectations? And I agree. They're lofty expectations. Not to say she can't, but we soon will see. So here we have Big Jim Uso versus... and I say this all the time, too, every Friday night. I love how they call him Big Jim Uso now. It's funny. Give him his own identity. These days, it's tough with a brother like Jey Uso, like him or not, being over as he is, versus The Miz. We're not going to break this whole match down. We got more to talk about. Big Jim Uso wins by pinfall with his diving splash. Gets the victory. Post-match, grabs the commentary headset, calls Gunther out for Monday, telling him he's going to bust him down to Private Gunther and make him salute Big Jim. Threw the headset off. Very cool. I love Jimmy Uso, man. I really do. So this was cool. Backstage, Drew McIntyre runs into Grammy-nominated artists, maybe Grammy Award-winning, Louis Capaldi, and they have a friendly chat. And Drew says he's going to head out to the pub when he runs into an interview. Had an interview, long story short, was talking about who he called the Temu Undertaker, Damian Priest. He then tries to exit, and Damian Priest is on the other side. Started beating the living hell out of him, smashed him into some guy's very nice-looking BMW convertible, and then chokeslams him. No, he actually chokeslammed first this other guy who was in the car first, saying like, "Hey, you knocked him into my car." He threw that guy through a table. Then they would get on top of a car, and Priest ends up hitting a South of Heaven through the windshield. And it legitimately looked like all the glass shattered everywhere, the tempered glass. It looked like Drew actually may have gotten glass in his right eye because it might have just been a hell of a sell, but there were shards everywhere. He was raking at his eye real quick. So I said, "Oh God, I hope he doesn't have any glass in his eye," because when they were going off the camera, they were wrapping up that scene. He kept yelling his eyes. So again, hopefully he was just kayfabe and the living hell out of that moment because it looked concerning. So that was cool for what it was worth. And dating back to earlier in the night when Drew called Damian Priest, the Team Undertaker, uh, Priest would then say to Drew after he gave him the chokeslam through the windshield, he says, "Rest in peace, jackass." So I'm glad he brought up something Undertaker-esque for that moment. So that was cool. We would then see CM Punk escorted with security past Drew McIntyre, kind of snickering. Obviously, no love lost there. Then we were ready for the main event of the night, right? The main event match was actually The Miz versus Big Jim, but the main event was Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk for this contract signing, right? And so the way that would go is Nick Aldis would be in the ring, presiding over the contract to sign between the three men. They all make their entrances. Roman Reigns makes his way out. He gets his whole, hoopla. Seth Rollins singing along, all that. CM Punk would get his moment in time, and blah, blah, blah. They're talking all kinds of smack. Roman's saying, sign the contract, Punk, with a fine-tooth comb. You see CM Punk going through this contract, all 5, 6, 7 pages of it, and Roman's getting frustrated. He says, "Sign today. This is TV. We got to go. We got to go." He tells Paul to wisen him up. Heyman goes over there and says, "It's in there, Punk. It's in there. You're going to, at last, main event, WrestleMania for the very first time." Now, delivering this message, Heyman was teary-eyed. Punk was teary-eyed, dating back to their history, both personally and professionally. So that's how that went. Good for CM Punk. Like him or not, hey, the guy gets in the main event of night one with Seth. Seth was absolutely incensed. He threw a fit. He says Punk doesn't deserve it. Seth was being very bratty, as he usually is, especially when it pertains to CM Punk. So that's how that went. Rollins, so again, he threw that fit. Goes off on how main eventing WrestleMania is sacred and it means more to him than anything, right? Because Seth Rollins is very bent out of shape, not only because him and Punk despise one another, but, Punk left for as long as he did, and Seth feels like him and guys like Roman and whomever else helped carry the company through the last decade plus. So I get it. And Punk stands up, wipes a tear from his eye, and thanks London, Chicago, Louisville, and fans in general. He says, as corny as it sounds, who stood by him and chanted his name for a decade long. Reigns says the only person Punk should be thanking is him. It's because of him that he's in the main event. So now Punk fell to a knee. I love this part. And we were like, oh, okay. Punk for a little bit. It's intriguing, but my goodness, I hope Tiffany goes heel soon. I hear you, Wiccan. Tiffany makes a way better heel. Alexa Bliss again, Triple H. What are you doing? Yeah, 31. What's up, brother? Yeah, I think as I was talking to some people before this, and I'm going to finish up the main event right here, guys, answer some comments real quick. Again, guys, hit that like button, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe. Welcome if you're new here. But yeah, I don't think Triple H is screwing up. I think realistically something is personally, seemingly, that's been the running rumor lately. Something that Bo Dallas is dealing with potentially in his personal life might be throwing off the whole trajectory of that whole faction of the Wyatt Six. So hopefully whenever Bo is able to figure out or be in a better place with whatever he's dealing with these days, once Bo Dallas is back, the lead of the group, brother of Bray Wyatt, Uncle Howdy, once he's back into the fold, that's when I think when we see Alexa Bliss make her way in, however they're going to do it, through Nikki Cross, whatever. They got the tag team relationship over the years, 2-time champs together. I thought we'd see that match at Mania. Liv and Raquel potentially versus Alexa, Nikki, or maybe another tag team or two. I think everything is on pause with Alexa and the Wyatt Six due to whatever Bo Dallas is dealing with. So hopefully, he's in a good place mentally and physically. And when he's back, he's back. We're just going to have to be patient. So 31, I don't think, they're spiting us or screwing Alexa Bliss since her return with one match against, a couple appearances and a match against Candice LeRae. I don't think that's the fact at all. I think the fact of the matter is something is going on. But let me get back to this final bit here. So CM Punk, he drops to a knee. He says, "Thank you, my tribal chief, the head of the table." He goes, "Big dog." Roman raised an eyebrow because, we don't talk about the big dog days. We talk about the tribal chief days, the 2020 and beyond days, late 2020, right? Since becoming Universal Champion for the, second, third time, whatever. So he thanks Roman for allowing a kid from Chicago to be graced by his presence and to stand in his ring. And he'll see him in main event of WrestleMania. So now a lot of us by this moment in time, whether it was Seth Rollins, whether it was Roman Reigns, whether it was each and every viewer watching tonight or in attendance, a lot of us thought, oh, okay, being that Heyman clarified to CM Punk in the contract, in the fine print, that you are main eventing night one. You're finally in the main event, CM Punk, against Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. Thank who you want to thank, but you're in there, and a lot of us were under the impression that, okay, so that's got to be the favor that Heyman owed Punk since Survivor Series 4 months ago, almost to the day. And at the end, Punk signs the contract while Seth looks at him, thanks Reigns again and says, the favor he's owed, he's still owed the favor, right? From Paul Heyman. So the favor he's still owed. He's still owed. What could the favor be? That was not the favor. So that left me intrigued. It was very abrupt, but I was hoping the TV didn't cut off because they had the closing credits close to 2 minutes before the show actually went off air. So I said, oh man, tell me we're going to miss the final words that are said. And I'm going to have to find this on YouTube or something. And sure enough, he's the main event of night one, WrestleMania, Punk main eventing for the first time. But what's the favor? What could it be? I mean, is it as simple as Heyman just betraying Punk to get the win at Mania? I think there's more than that. Could it be? Sure. It could be a lot of things. But I want to know what you guys think. Have you seen the slap WWE title bracelets? Yeah, I have seen them, Rachel. You said you got the Undertaker one. Oh, it's really cool, Rachel. I think there's like 10 of them. And I think the Undertaker one and there's one other one are actually two of the rare ones that you don't really see. You see the spinner, I think, the U.S. title and so on. But I think the Undertaker ones are one of the rare ones I read about a couple of days ago. So good for you. But guys, that is the Friday Night SmackDown review. If you have not already, hit the thumbs up on this live. Please do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. If they're in the wrestling, hey, again, they could be in the older wrestling like I grew up on, Golden Era and all that. Even before that, share this with them. If they watch present day stuff, this is a great channel to keep up with. Whether you watch WWE, whether you watch AEW, you like your TNA, your NXT, you name it. We discuss all that here. So again, hit the subscribe, hit the thumbs up, share with a friend. And I'm going to head out of here in about 2 minutes or so. I'll take any more questions, comments, concerns, guys. And yeah, thank you for being here for this Friday Night SmackDown review. I hope you guys not only enjoyed SmackDown, but I hope you enjoyed tonight's review as well. Any other comments or questions? Drop it in the chat. White 60 storyline, who could they actually go? Yeah, Wiccan, who could they actually go after at this moment in time? If we really broke it down, I'm sure there's a lot of people in WWE, especially on SmackDown, that have betrayed somebody, right? If that's the shtick they're still running with, they're all about people that betray their family or friends or their circle. So I'm sure there's a few people that we can name on SmackDown. Not one's coming to mind right now, but I'm sure there's something they could immerse themselves with. But I think before that even, they could just immerse themselves with the whole dynamic of Alexa Bliss and gaining her interest or vice versa. Maybe Alexa's just outwardly interested in seeing what they're up to. And so I'm more interested in seeing Alexa and the cohesion with Wyatt Six at first, then, of course, immersing themselves in feuds. Whether it's Nikki and Alexa versus Liv and Raquel, or what's next for Uncle Howdy, or who's going to tag? Is it Gacy and Redbeard, or is it Loomis? So what are we going to do there? Chad, thank you for the comment on the hat, brother. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I actually got this last year. WWE shop. It's a real vintage hat, as you can tell. It's from Spring Stampede 97, but it looks like an even older hat, if you ask me. But I do love it. I think Julia will take back her title. Would love to see that for Julia. I know Wiccan would like to see that. But I like what Stephanie's doing right now. I'd like her to hold the title for a bit. If Julia's the one to eventually dethrone Stephanie, by all means, go for it. But I'd like to see Stephanie be champion for a while. If she loses the North American sooner than later, sure. But I'd like to see Stephanie Baker hold the NXT Women's Championship for quite a bit. I think Roman was funny tonight. Yeah, Roman was he was on one tonight, Rachel. Roman Reigns was definitely on one. Maybe CM Punk wants the Ula follow. Hey, Aaron, good seeing you, man. As always, maybe the Ula follow. It's a hot commodity these days, man. Parents are at a concert too. Oh, okay, well, appreciate you sharing that with me, Bootleg. Appreciate that. All right, guys, any other comments, questions, concerns? I may hop over to TikTok at 12:30 p.m., which is about a little over, almost 15 minutes from now. But I'll probably hop over to TikTok for a little bit at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully Julia comes back as a heel. Yeah, I like that too, Wiccan. I'm actually very, and I know we discussed it earlier in the week or maybe last week, but I'm very much on board with Julia coming back as a heel. I think us seeing that aggressive side, that badassery, if you will, I'm here for it. It's much different than Naomi finally turning heel after 9 years again. But again, like we've seen Naomi be so nice for so long, and even though Julia's only been with NXT for such a short time, I'd like to see that too. I'm loving what we're seeing with Naomi this heel turn. A lot of it's justified too. Makes even more sense. They're making it make sense. And Julia coming back as a heel could be fun, especially if they're going to keep Stephanie as a babyface for a little bit. Do I think Bianca will turn heel? We've been thinking that for a while. There's been a lot of tendencies and hints at it for weeks or months now. So if they so choose to do that, bootleg, she'll be great. She'll fit it like a glove. Bianca will be perfect. Loved her in NXT as a heel. The funny thing is, Bianca didn't achieve any success as far as championships in NXT. Comes up to the main roster barely 5 years ago, and she's been nothing but successful, with or without a title. But she's had many title reigns, tag champion as well, as we all know, a Royal Rumble winner, a 2-time Elimination Chamber winner. So Bianca's had nothing but success on the main roster. But yeah, let's take it back to the heel days one of these days. I'm okay with that. That Bianca from NXT, with 5 years plus experience since being on the main roster, that would be a lot of fun. I think Roxanne will go to Raw when the draft happens. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that looks to be the case, right? I think they'll pretty much insert her on Raw full time, all the time, probably right after Mania, because I don't think Roxanne's going to be on Mania. So, I think that's why they're kind of cooling her off or cooling her down. But when they jump into this new season, as we all call it, after Mania, it's like a fresh start, right? It's like January 1st. I do think that we will see her, and then possibly even in mid-card title contention for starters. Wicked says if Bianca goes heel, it'll happen after WrestleMania. Correct. Exactly. The biggest caveat is what's going to happen with Jade Cargill and Bianca. And Jade and Naomi need to be done for anything to happen going forth with Jade and Bianca. Regardless of the end result of Jade and Naomi, we need to see that conclude to a point for Jade and Bianca to figure things out, how that feud's going to go. And yeah, we could see a Bianca heel as early as April 20th or 19th or whenever that match takes place. When John turned heel, you started crying. Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of big-time Cena fans that were not happy about his heel turn. And, and then he officially broke up with the C Nation, right, 2 weeks ago in Germany, so Brussels, Germany. So that was definitely something as well. Appreciate you guys being here with me. I'm going to hang out for another minute or so, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. And then we'll be all good. So hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, guys. Thank you for being here. Again, I'll be back on YouTube Live Monday around 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I think this is the last Monday Night Raw internationally for a while, right? London, England, back at the O2, same arena they were at tonight for SmackDown. So, again, I know it's going to be earlier in the U.S., televised on Netflix Monday, but my review for Monday Night Raw will be roughly around 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So you could look to see me here Monday night for the Raw review. And we'll be back to regularly scheduled timing the week following, because we'll be back on our regular Monday and Friday schedule, especially when he was being mean to that kid. Yeah, I hear you. Hernia, because we hated the spinner belts. That's right, Wiccan. You got to tell him. Tell him on my behalf and yours. Yeah, definitely, personally not a big fan of the spinner belts. I'm glad that I'm not alone. Glad that I'm not alone in that category. All right, guys. Well, look, I'm going to head out of here in about 10 minutes, give or take. I'm going to head to TikTok. So if you got me on TikTok, or even if you don't, go follow me on TikTok at Turnbuckle TOPIX, where I will be live there for a little bit tonight as well. Again, you could also follow me on Instagram, X, Twitter, and Facebook at Turnbuckle TOPIX. I thank you all for joining me tonight for this Friday night SmackDown review. I've had a whole lot of fun. Any last comments, questions, or concerns before I hit the end button in about 30 seconds, guys? Feel free to chime in. Am I going to Mania? I want to go, Vegas. Yeah, I hear you. No, it doesn't look as if I'm going to be heading to Mania this year. I had a great time last year in Philadelphia, the whole weekend. Mania was awesome, but would love to be in Vegas for starters, with or without Mania. But hey, it doesn't look like it's going to be in the cards this year. Pun intended. But what are you going to do? Dom should buy Liv a ring that can go with their storyline. Yeah, we'll see how much longer they last, right? Dom and Liv. All right, guys, look, I am heading out of here. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. And I will see you back here Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for a Monday Night Raw review. All right, hopefully see you guys over there on TikTok in a few minutes. Take care.